Okay, good. I finally made it through. Okay, listen, Luffy, you need to leave, alright? I've been watching this fight for a while, and I think he's beaten you down no less than 50 times before this. Just again and again and again. I don't think you have a chance against this dude. I think you just need to get to Cacao Island, like now.
Don't regret your past. Learn from it.
The past? Luffy, the past is like the last 12 hours. That's not really that long ago. Okay, listen. This isn't a fat guy wearing a cheap sun hat or a bunch of dicks wearing chess costumes, okay? This is the strongest man in the entirety of Totland. Charlotte Katakuri. Charlotte Katakuri, Luffy!
A name means nothing on the battlefield.
Luffy, he can literally see into the future. How do you top that?
A strong man doesn't need to read the future. He makes his own.
Okay, whatever. I tried. Just please, don't die, Snake. I mean, Luffy. Luffy! Luffy! Hey everybody, Tekking101 here, and welcome to One Piece Chapter 895 review titled Straw Hat Luffy versus Sweet Commander, that's Sanji, but Sweet Commander Katakuri. I don't have a wanted poster for him. I should get one. Screw it, I'm adding, even if he doesn't join the main crew, Roger's up here, Ace is up here, I'm adding Katakuri to the backdrop. Alright, so the cover page this week kicks off the next saga in the Straw Hat Grand Fleet Chronicles with Hyruujin, the giant from Dressrosa, who's originally from Elbaf. He's the captain of I think the new giant warrior pirates. I think that's what he was calling them. Of course, a nod of respect to Dorian Broggy's giant warrior pirates of legend. Now, if you remember, along with Hyruujin, there were also 4 other giants that he was like, that were part of his crew, and they were all under Buggy's delivery service at Kalibali Island. You know, the warlord Buggy, who was like basically contracting a bunch of pirates and then sending them out to various parts of the world to do various piratey things. Like, I don't really know how the business practices of the delivery service work. But they were ranked by like C, B, A, and then like there were like S rank, you know, pirates that were on Buggy's crew. I guess Buggy's a fan of One Punch Man because he's taking a nod from the Hero Association there. But Hyruujin, being a giant, along with his other members of his crew, were like S rank fighters here, and they all decided to leave. So they're all in their Viking longboat and they're sailing off, you know, to have their new adventure or whatever. I guess Luffy inspired them to just follow their dreams, so they resigned from Buggy's delivery service to follow their own ambitions, and Buggy is off to the side yelling at them like, no, please, I mean, I'm awesome by myself, but you guys should totally stay because my awesomeness. Now, I'm sure there's still some other like heavy hitters on the delivery service payroll. You know, Buggy's not, you know, completely out of it yet, but I kind of want to see the structure of the delivery service. I want to see like which pirates, you know, Buggy has signed up, because I have a feeling we might have seen a few of them before. You know, we might say a few familiar faces under Buggy's rule right now. So that maybe later on in the story we'll see where that's going. I like to think Oda has something planned for Buggy the Warlord. Maybe a little side arc, or, you know, just something involving the Straw Hats maybe, but Buggy's definitely going to appear in a big way later on in the story. Alright, so we get into the chapter, and there's no milking this, there's no like, I was like, oh, we're going to have a little bit of a recap from last chapter first. No, Oda just spreads it out, spread eagle, he just gives it to us right away. Gear 4 Snakeman, right there, in its glory. I already made a whole video about this, discussing the appearance of Snakeman, but suffice it to say, it's basically just like, I think, compressing the muscles down, okay? So sacrificing the elasticity for more strength and more power. And this gives Luffy the appearance that I think a lot of people thought Gear 4th was going to look like when he first used it against Doflamingo. He pops out fighting Doflamingo, this big bouncy, you know, ball, and it's just like, okay, that's a little weird. If Snakeman was the appearance that Luffy used against Doflamingo, I think a lot more people would be like, oh, that's awesome! Because this is the typical, like, you know, shonen manga, super transformation power up, I'm gonna wreck your shit now. Luffy's more buff, he's got hockey, he has his arms, his hands pointing out in, like, this knuckle walk thing. Some people have said it's like a snake head, you know, just striking you like this. Or, like, whatever. Does more damage anyway, I guess. His hair goes Super Saiyan, it's all wavy. I guess the excess hockey from his belly got transferred to his head. But no, I would assume that the hockey maybe compresses the muscles down more in his arms and his legs, so he's a lot faster now, and he states this to Katakuri. You do look a little bit different than you did before, but it's not like Katakuri brings up a massive difference, you know. I think people were thinking Luffy was going to have, like me as well. I thought Luffy was going to stretch out all of his limbs, he's going to look like an actual snake. But no, Luffy just says, no, I'm just a lot faster now, and he proceeds to, compress his fist back into his arm like he does with Kongun, except this time, it's Culverian, and he shoots an attack out at Katakuri. He just dodges it, and dodge is really giving it a lot of credit. Katakuri basically just does this. You know, and he's like, did you miss? Oh! And then he gets shot in the jaw from the other direction. He did hockey up his cheek, because it's, like, reflexive to him at this point. And then he gets hit again, and he gets knocked down, and he's like, whoa, okay, what's going on here? Because I'm seeing the attack coming, and keep in mind, I can see into the future, I can see the attack coming, and I dodge it, but then I get hit from, like, the side, or if I dodge it from the side, I get hit in the front. Like, what's going on here? And we pan back and we see what's going on. So, remember back when Luffy was using Culverian with Bound Man against Doflamingo? Whenever Doflamingo dodged it, Luffy, having better control of his hockey and his muscles and his elasticity and everything, he could change the course of the Culverian, like, at right angles, and it could circle back around, and it decked Doflamingo right in the schnoz. Kind of the same thing here, except way faster, alright? So it happens like in less than a second. When Luffy fires off an attack, Katakuri dodges it. Right as he's dodging it, the arm has already, you know, circled around at like 3 right angle turns and then just struck him in the other cheek. So it's literally just like, I dodged, oh! So it's remarkably fast here. I would even argue at speeds this breakneck, we might even be, you know, going Sonic. We might even be shattering the sound barrier or something. I don't know about that, but it's getting pretty damn close, you know? You know, and it's really like combining Gear 2nd with Gear 4th. From what we're going to see later on in the chapter, that's basically the gist behind Snakeman here. It's the speed gear, so that's the case. And you know, you could go check out that video. Once again, it's right here, because I really go into detail about how, like, it sacrifices elasticity for more, you know, maneuverability and strength and speed and stuff like that, like advantages from Bound Man to Snakeman and all that stuff. So really go check that out for all in its entirety and everything like that. And Luffy also brings up that whenever it turns, it speeds up as well. I don't know if that was an advantage with Bound Man or not. In the anime, they kind of, whenever Luffy was fighting Doflamingo in the anime, they kind of like milked it out a little bit with Luffy's arms stretching, like, you know, it just keeps going on and on and on to the point where you wonder, like, how far can he actually stretch? In the manga, it's not nearly that that much stretching, but we don't know if it was like increasing speed then or not. But here it definitely is. Every time it makes a right turn, it's speeding up faster and faster. So yeah, Katakuri figures out what's going on, but it's still really hard for him to dodge it. So Luffy keeps sending his Python at him. The same thing with Doflamingo, like, go after him, Python, chase him, Python. And I guess after it reaches a certain speed, maybe after he makes enough right angles and it speeds up to the point where it's like nearing like the sound barrier or whatever, that's when he adds the jet prefix to it. So Jet Culverian hits Katakuri right in the center, so he has to like raise up his arms in defense and he gets shot back here. Obviously the same prefix as with Gear 2nd, so that's where that comes from there. Now the next move, because Katakuri's kind of onto him here, he knows what he's doing, Luffy attacks him again with his other arm. Katakuri just turns his entire body into Mochi, and it was already Mochi, but I mean, like, he literally just goes like T-1000, like, oh, just turns into Mochi and lands on the ground, and then he speeds toward Luffy. Now, listen, Katakuri really does something here truly remarkable, okay? He's transcending the bounds of human understanding. He's not just summoning the donuts with his Peerless Donuts technique. No, Katakuri, in this chapter, becomes the damn donut. It's just like, this is my true form, my final power. Nothing that any human could possibly throw at me could stop me while I'm in the most beatable form that nature has to offer, the donut. So he gets sent in. This is actually a really cool technique, all right? He turns into a freaking donut, spirals at Luffy really fast. I guess Luffy, he doesn't really adjust the attack this time. Maybe it's Luffy's using his observation to really lock on to Katakuri's location, and it's still not perfect. It's still not quite on the same level as Katakuri, so he doesn't aim it perfectly. Like, he's like, I'm going to send out this attack, and he's going to dodge it, and it's going to attack him. But then when Katakuri does something like, I'm gonna turn into a donut, Luffy's like, okay, yeah, I didn't see that coming. So, spiraling at Luffy in the donut shape, he creates a bunch of spikes on one of his arms, and using that momentum from spinning constantly, he kind of takes his arm and he just thwack at Luffy. It's covered in spikes. It catches Luffy. Keep in mind, on top of doing damage from being spiked, it's also mochi, so Luffy gets stuck to it. And then Katakuri proceeds to just land back into his human form, this giant, enlarged, mochi-spiked club of an arm he's got, and begins to just spin him around the freaking fighting arena before he just slams him into the freaking ground. Big, huge bolt of, like, Conqueror's hockey going off here, like the black lightning shooting off or whatever. And you see a scene of Katakuri standing there after he pounded him into the dirt, and he's just like, stay down, you rubber prick. It's just like completely enraged, like he's in full demon form. It's like he's not trying to play it cool anymore. He's just like, I am the god of the donuts and death. Stay down if you don't want any more glazed vengeance. You know, like, he really does look like he's going nuts here. Luffy is still alive. Now, keep in mind, like I said, with Bound Man, it had way more elasticity. I feel like if this attack was done to him in Bound Man, Luffy would have not taken as much damage, or he would have just bounced around. But in this case, no. He's cratered. He's in there. He's clutching his freaking head. He got hit pretty hard here. And he's just like, oh, man, it hurts. I'm hungry. This sucks, man. So he breaks out of the freaking crater, begins to attack Katakuri again, and, you know, he really does look like, Luffy looks like a madman too. Katakuri's like a demon, Luffy's like a wild animal. I mentioned this last chapter, but he's going full feral here. I mean, look at this. Seriously, really, look at this. He's like, and Luffy does something here that's actually kind of unusual. Maybe he's done this before. One Piece is a really long series. He might have possibly said this before against, like, Crocodile or Lucci or Doflamingo or Magellan. But if he has done this before, he doesn't do it very often. It's not like he does this with every villain. So he's fighting Katakuri. Katakuri says, you know, what are you saying? And Luffy's like, you know, I just wanted to get it all out there. Like, this sucks. It hurts. I'm hungry. But now I feel refreshed. Now I feel better because I got all that stuff off my mind. Now fall, Katakuri! You know, like when he was fighting against, you know, Magellan or Lucci or Hody, Luffy wasn't like, now fall to the ground, Hody! Never get back up! You know, like, maybe he said it before, but it's just weird that he was, like, that direct with it. Now fall, Katakuri! There's always translation flubs, so maybe it's something slightly different, or it's like, I'm gonna defeat you, Katakuri, or don't get back up, Katakuri, or this is it, Katakuri. But yeah, it's just, hey, it's the final bout. By the end of this chapter, it's the final clash, so this goes along with it, I guess. They just continue to slam into each other, and it's looking pretty brutal. Okay, like, probably the most brutal scene is a moment where, you know, Luffy, his fists are like this, and it's about to slam in Katakuri's cheek, and he has to hockey up his cheek, and it's made of mochi, so it, like, scrunches back, but you can tell it still hurts him, and then Luffy gets punched in the face, and they're just, like, slamming into each other, clashing fists. Luffy's like, it hurts! So finally, they just get kind of both, like, knocked away. Like, they're just hitting each other so much. They get so close in proximity to each other. They knock each other back. There's a moment here where it looks like, you know, Katakuri uses his, like, grilled mochi thing again, like his rocket punch. Meanwhile, the Culverian, you know, shoots around a few times, hits him in the face. They both get knocked back. They clash again. And then this is where Luffy uses a new technique only for, I guess, Snakeman we haven't seen so far. Although I would assume he can use pretty much any move in Snakeman, in Bound Man, or Tank Man. It's just that while in Snake Man, certain attacks are much more efficient. Like, he could probably use King Kong Gun while in Snake Man, but it would just be way better to use it in Bound Man because he's just bigger and just would have more of a battle power, you know? But anyway, he uses basically the Gear 4th Snakeman version of Jet Gatling from Gear 2nd. He uses Black Mamba, where he, you know, compresses all of his fists, and then just really fast, you know, because it looks like there's like a bunch of freaking snakes coming out of him. I think it's like an array of black snakes, or a nest of black snakes is like the literal translation. Speaking of Black Mambas themselves, I've actually looked them up on the internet. It's really fascinating creatures, the Black Mamba are. You know, listen to this. In Africa, the saying goes, in the bush, an elephant can kill you, a leopard can kill you, and a black mamba can kill you. But only with the mamba, and this has been true in Africa since the dawn of time, is death sure. Hence its handle, Death Incarnate. Yeah, that's pretty powerful stuff there, yeah. So, anyway, a rubber boy hits a mochi dude in the face with his technique named after a very poisonous snake, gets knocked to the ground there. Katakuri strikes him as well, so he falls as well, and it basically ends with the same kind of clash they had earlier, where Katakuri becomes a donut, spirals toward Luffy, ready to use his diced mochi technique with the spikes in the club, and then Luffy, what he does here, and it's kind of hard to see because it's kind of far away, but what I think Luffy's doing here is when he shoots out his arm the first time, he's not actually aiming at Katakuri. What this technique is, it's called Gamu Gamu no King Cobra. He shoots out his arm, and then he slingshots it around him, changing directions, because every time it changes direction, it accelerates faster and faster, so he's building up more and more speed, and by the time it swings around him, it's really freaking fast. And it might also look like in this one panel, Luffy is breathing into his arm to maybe make his arm bigger. But the last scene here, the perspective, you know, I don't know. It's either really close to the camera, like in the foreground, so it might be the same size, or it might be bigger. Whatever. It's accelerating really fast, okay? And mass times acceleration equals force. Yeah, I nailed that this time. When I did the discussion video a few days ago, I said, what was it, mass times velocity equals force, and that's wrong. It's mass times velocity equals momentum, mass times acceleration equals force. Yes! My high school physics teacher, Mrs. Hoover, is proud. I have been redeemed, Mrs. Hoover. I've been redeemed. But anyway, yeah, the rubber boys, that's how I apply physics in my life. I don't know about you. When a fictional rubber boy turns into a giant snake man and fights against a mochi dude with a giant club made of mochi spikes that turns into donuts, that's how I apply it in my life. Anyway, the attacks clash Diced Mochi and King Cobra, and it's one big kaboom kaboom, and we don't know what happened, but it states that, you know, this is the victor, this is the final clash, and the winner is obscured by a pillar in the mirror world that's still there, so we don't know the outcome of it there. Also, when Luffy was using King Cobra, it wasn't like the snake or like the knuckle walk appearance. It was more of just like a grip appearance, like when Luffy used Snake Shot against Hody. It was more of like that when he attacked him. And the Diced Mochi, I don't know, because the Diced Mochi is an attack that's coming down from above, and Luffy's attack is going straight. So it really does look like this might be like a moment where it's like they hit at the same time, and you have like a Naruto Sasuke moment. I saw some fan art of this where it's like Luffy and Katakuri sitting on the ground, they're both missing arms, and they're just like, shut up, I love you, shut up, man. You know, now it's not gonna be, they're not gonna lose arms or anything like that, but it's gonna be one wallop of a hit. Like, it might be very possible they might both go down from this, and I still think I still think Luffy is going to need Katakuri's help in escaping from the mirror world. I don't think it's gonna be as simple as just like, ooh, I beat down Katakuri, and then Luffy just, you know, wobbles his way to the Cacao Island mirror and walks out. Like, you know what would happen, like, immediately if he tried that. So I think it's going to be like they both get beat down, and they're both lying on the ground, and they struggle to get back up, and then Luffy's the one that actually manages to get back up first. And he's like, I win! And then Katakuri just kind of like, alright, I can accept that. And then Katakuri, or maybe even Luffy, helps him back to his feet, just like, alright, we're good. Okay, you beat me, fair and square. Okay. Well, I'll help you get out. I'll help you escape the mirror world then. And that's where they might, you know, Katakuri might come in and helping Luffy get away. I just don't see any other way. I mean, yeah, you have Sanji arriving on Cacao Island, but I think that's more of just a ride for Luffy. Let me put it this way. Katakuri walks out of the mirror world with Luffy's lifeless body. Oven and everybody is just like, oh, brother Katakuri defeated Luffy. And he's like, yup. And then, you know, Katakuri walks off with Luffy. He's like, I'm going to take his head to Big Mom or whatever. And everyone's cheering. And then Katakuri gets to the edge of the island. And then that's when Sanji shows up with Pudding. And unfortunately, in this version, Katakuri doesn't go with them. But Luffy just, you know, Katakuri just tosses him over to Sanji, just like, here, just take him. And just like, well, is he alive? He's like, yeah, he's alive. Just get him out of here. Get him out of here. I'll buy time as long as I can or whatever. And then Sanji and Luffy and Kata and Pudding, they're all looking at each other. Well, what's going to happen with Pudding, too? That's kind of a big, you know, because we don't know what's going on with that. But Pudding always has her memory power. She always has the ability to just alter people's memories, so she probably shouldn't have too many problems. But there's going to be a moment where maybe Pudding and Katakuri look at each other and they're just like, yeah, screw this place, am I right? And Pudding's like, yeah. So, I don't know, that's one way possible that could go down. But I think the clash, I think it's going to be close, but Luffy's definitely going to come out on top. Katakuri's not going to be killed or knocked into a coma or anything like Lucci. I think it's just going to be like a near win, but a win on Luffy's end, and I think that's the best way to end this fight. Nothing like super like deciding like, Luffy defeated Katakuri, oh, I'm awesome. No, it's like, just could have went either way, Luffy. But anyway, thanks for watching the review, everybody. Sorry for the lateness again. Today, though, if I can get this review out before this happens, which if everything goes as planned, which it very rarely does, but if it does, today at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be the results, the winners of the Green Bull Art Contest. We're going to be doing an entire stream. Roger Space is going to be in there, and me, and Joy Boy. We're all going to be chilling out, looking at all the entries from the contest, something like close to 500 fucking entries. I don't know how long the live stream's going to be. It's probably going to be at least 3 or 4 hours, something like that. We might not all three be there, like, all for the entire run, but we're definitely going to be there near the beginning. So come and chill out with us there, and we can see the winners of the contest, and this has been a long time coming, so I hope you join in. And I got to get going, because I got to edit this, get this up, and then I got to go and prepare for the live stream. So I got to go. But thanks, guys, for watching. Love you all. Signing out. Initiate Doughnut form. Doughnut Tekking. Ow, I hit my knees.